As a seasoned paranormal investigator, I had explored numerous haunted locations across the world. But my latest journey took me on a spine-chilling adventure like never before. Armed with my trusty EMF detector, infrared camera, and EVP recorder, I set off to investigate a series of haunted sites located in a remote part of the Appalachian Mountains. My first stop was an abandoned asylum that had a long history of paranormal activity. The locals spoke of ghostly apparitions, strange noises, and an overall sense of dread that loomed over the premises. As I entered the decaying building, I immediately felt a drop in temperature, and my EMF detector spiked wildly. I made my way through the dark hallways, capturing EVPs that seemed to echo whispers of past patients. The air was thick with an eerie energy, and I couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. As I ventured deeper into the asylum, I encountered cold spots that seemed to move, as if following my every step. I could hear distant footsteps and faint cries, but every time I turned to investigate, nothing was there. Using my knowledge of the paranormal, I theorized that the residual energy of the asylum's troubled past was still trapped within its walls. The traumatic experiences of the patients had left an imprint, and the spirits were reliving their torment over and over again. My next destination was an old mansion known as the Widow's Manor. Legend had it that a grieving widow had cursed the property after her husband's tragic death, and ever since, the mansion was plagued by malevolent spirits. As soon as I stepped foot inside, I felt an oppressive presence that seemed to suffocate the air around me. I conducted a thorough investigation, capturing EVPs of chilling voices that seemed to taunt me. My infrared camera picked up shadowy figures lurking in the corners of the rooms, disappearing as soon as I shone my flashlight. The temperature fluctuated drastically, and objects moved on their own. Drawing upon my knowledge of the paranormal, I deduced that the widow's grief and anger had manifested into vengeful spirits that were still bound to the mansion. The residual energy of her intense emotions had created a haunting that was fueled by her unresolved emotions. But the most harrowing experience of my journey took place in an abandoned church nestled deep in the woods. Local folklore spoke of a sinister cult that had conducted dark rituals in the church, and the place was known to be cursed. As soon as I entered, I felt a malevolent force that sent shivers down my spine. I proceeded with caution, but soon, I was surrounded by a palpable darkness that seemed to close in on me. My equipment malfunctioned, and I felt a sharp pain on my neck. I quickly took a photo with my infrared camera, and to my horror, I saw claw-like marks on my neck in the picture, despite no physical injury. With my knowledge of the paranormal, I realized that the church was a hotbed of negative energy. The cult's dark practices had left a residual imprint, and the malevolent entities that lurked there were feeding off the fear and negativity of anyone who dared to enter. After a thorough investigation, I concluded that the locations I had visited were indeed haunted by residual energy from past traumas, vengeful spirits fueled by intense emotions, and malevolent entities drawn to negative energy. It was clear that these paranormal activities were not to be taken lightly, and I left these sites with a newfound respect for the supernatural. My journey had been a thrilling and enlightening one, and I continued my quest to uncover the mysteries of the paranormal in my relentless pursuit of the truth. My latest investigation took me to an isolated island off the coast of Scotland, known as Blackthorn Island. The island had a long history of paranormal occurrences, including reports of phantom lights, disembodied voices, and unexplained disappearances of travelers who had ventured too far into the island's dense forests. As I set foot on the island, I was immediately struck by the heavy mist that hung in the air, enveloping the landscape in an otherworldly veil. The atmosphere was charged with an eerie energy that sent a chill down my spine. Undeterred, I pressed on, eager to uncover the secrets that lay within. My first night on the island was spent in a crumbling castle that was said to be haunted by the spirit of a former lord who had met a tragic end centuries ago. As I conducted my investigation, I captured EVPs of mournful wails and heard footsteps echoing through the empty halls. The temperature fluctuated wildly, and my EMF detector spiked in certain areas, indicating the presence of paranormal activity. As I delved deeper into the castle's history, I discovered that the lord had been betrayed by his own family and had died a gruesome death. It appeared that his spirit was still lingering in the castle, seeking justice for the wrongs done to him. Using my knowledge of the paranormal, I attempted to communicate with the spirit and offer my assistance in finding closure, but the activity intensified, and I felt a sense of anger and resentment in the air. I decided to move on to the island's ancient forest, which was notorious for its mysterious disappearances. Armed with my equipment, I ventured into the dense foliage, feeling a palpable sense of foreboding. The trees seemed to whisper, and the shadows moved in unsettling ways. As I made my way deeper into the forest, I became disoriented, despite having a map and compass. My equipment malfunctioned, and I lost all contact with my team. The forest seemed to close in on me, and I could hear laughter and whispers all around me, but there was no one in sight. Drawing upon my knowledge of the paranormal, I realized that the forest was enchanted, and I had fallen victim to its supernatural lure. The forest's energies were manipulating my senses and trying to keep me trapped within its depths. I had to rely on my instincts and intuition to find my way out, following a faint glimmer of light that seemed to guide me back to safety. Exhausted and shaken, I finally emerged from the forest, grateful to have escaped its clutches. I reunited with my team, who had also experienced strange phenomena while searching for me. We concluded that the forest was a gateway to another realm, where time and space seemed to blur, and spirits from the past were trapped in a loop, playing out their own tragedies over and over again. My investigation on Blackthorn Island was a harrowing experience, where I encountered vengeful spirits seeking justice and a forest with supernatural powers. It was a reminder that the paranormal world was complex and multifaceted, and not all entities were easily explained. As I left the island, I couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and wonder at the mysteries that still remained unsolved, and my resolve to unravel the truth about the paranormal grew stronger than ever. I traveled to a remote village nestled deep in the Appalachian Mountains, known as Moonvale, which had a reputation for being haunted by a dark presence. The villagers spoke of strange occurrences, including unexplained shadows that moved independently, disembodied voices, and a pervasive feeling of dread that hung in the air. As I arrived in Moonvale, I was struck by the village's eerie atmosphere. The misty mountains loomed in the background, and the village streets were lined with old, dilapidated buildings that seemed to whisper secrets of the past. My investigation began with the village's oldest building, a grand mansion that had been abandoned for decades. The locals claimed that it was haunted by the spirit of a former resident who had met a tragic end. As I entered the mansion, I immediately felt a heavy presence, and the temperature dropped dramatically. I heard footsteps echoing through the empty halls, and my equipment registered fluctuations in electromagnetic fields. As I delved into the mansion's history, I discovered that it had once been a site of dark rituals and occult practices. It seemed that the spirit of the former resident was tormented by the dark energies that still lingered in the mansion, and was trapped in a cycle of anguish and despair. Using my expertise in the paranormal, I attempted to communicate with the spirit and offer it solace, but it remained restless and refused to move on. I then turned my attention to the village cemetery, which was said to be haunted by the ghosts of those who had died under mysterious circumstances. As I conducted my investigation, I captured chilling EVPs of whispers and moans, and witnessed orbs of light floating among the graves. The villagers spoke of strange occurrences at night, with tombstones shifting and eerie cries echoing through the cemetery. Through my research, I uncovered a tragic history of the village, including a dark event that had occurred decades ago. It seemed that the village had been a site of witch trials, with innocent people accused and executed for practicing witchcraft. The spirits of those who had died unjustly were still seeking justice and revenge, and their energies had permeated the village, causing the paranormal activity. Armed with this knowledge, I conducted a cleansing ritual to help release the trapped spirits and bring peace to the village. I used protective charms and incantations to ward off negative energies and create a safe space for the spirits to move on. Gradually, the activity subsided, and the village seemed to regain its sense of calm. As I prepared to leave Moonvale, I felt a sense of satisfaction in having helped the restless spirits find closure. The village had been a challenging investigation, with dark energies and tragic history intertwining to create a haunting presence. It was a stark reminder that the paranormal world was often intertwined with human history and emotions, and required sensitivity and understanding to unravel its mysteries. As I packed my bags and bid farewell to Moonvale, I couldn't help but reflect on the countless stories of the paranormal that remained untold, and the many more investigations that awaited me in my quest to uncover the truth behind the veil of the supernatural. Thanks for watching, and be sure to give the video a like and leave a comment on your thoughts of the story. Also, let us know what kind of story you would like to hear next, or if you have a story you would like to share. We would love to hear from you, so please leave us a comment or email us.